Hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody is doing well. Everybody's staying warm or staying dry or whatever the weather may be in your area. Welcome to Southern Gal True Crime. If this is your first time here, thought I had everything adjusted right. Trying to not gonna let it turn into a dumpster fire right from the start. But if this is your first time here, welcome. Thanks for dropping in and hanging out with me for a little bit. Tonight, we are going to be talking about, once again, the Morgan Nick case. It is a case that has always been very close to my heart. Lots of information in this case, and it seems like every time I research it some more, I find information that I'd either never seen before or just overlooked somehow. And so tonight we have we're going to be focusing on DNA that was actually collected in 1995. And I'll give you, for anybody who doesn't know about the Morgan Nick case, I will give you some background information, the basics, the important points of the case. And then we're going to be talking about DNA that was collected in 1995, not in regards to the Morgan Nick case, but in another case from the prime person of interest that has been named in Morgan's case in 2021. This gentleman was named a primary person of interest. But I found an article that was originally came out in 2022 and it was updated in 2023 with some very interesting information. So let me bring you that. I've got court documents because hey Perry, how you doing? Welcome. Good to have you here. I think I've seen you in I watched so many lives. I know I've seen you maybe in the Think Tank or Mob Crew or True Crime Web. But anyway, regardless of how you found me, thank you for being here. We're just going over what we're going to be taking a look at tonight. All right, let me get some shameless plugging out of the way first of all. Like I said earlier, if it's your first time here, either live in the chat, watching the show, or in replay, please do consider subscribing. I share missing persons, cold cases, some current true crime in the news, and anything else true crime related that I find interesting and hope that you guys find interesting. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like, share, comment. You guys know the drill. Any likes, shares, comments that I get for small channels like mine help tremendously. So share me with any friends, family that you have that are into true crime, any true crime groups you may be in. The main goal of my channel is to bring more awareness to what I call lesser known cases that don't get the national attention. Not that those, I say it every time, not that those national attention cases, not that those victims and their families aren't important and those cases aren't important, but there are lots of cases out there, not just here in Arkansas, because I'm in Arkansas, but everywhere that just don't get the national attention that some of these cases do. So I try to focus on those cases. you can also find me on Facebook. I have a Facebook group and a Facebook page. I get a little behind in keeping up with posting on there, but I'm trying to do better with posting in my Facebook group and on my Facebook page. So of course, both of them are called obviously Southern Gal True Crime. So check those out. If you ever have any questions, comments, any cases that you would like me to look into, you can email me there at the email on the screen. If you have a case that you want me to look into that's either affects you know people involved in it, or just from anywhere, any case that you think is not getting enough attention, just email me any information you have about it, victims involved, potential offenders involved, what state it's from, and I will do my best to get on the Google machine and look it up for you. All right, I think that's all the oh wait, let me go back and take this banner off so it won't be showing through the, maybe I did take it off. Yes, Frankie's Think Tank. That's where I thought, Perry, that I thought I had seen you before. Thank you so much. And thanks so much to Miss Frankie for giving me shout outs in her live streams. I've been so busy the last couple of days, I haven't been able to drop in on any of the lives, but I do plan to binge watch Replay Crew, #Replay Crew, and get caught up on everything going on over there, because I know she's been covering lots of interesting cases that I don't know a whole lot about. So I'm definitely want to learn more about those cases that Miss Frankie has been covering. Hey there, Dandy. Always good to have you here. Dandy is my fearless mod and a friend. I consider her a friend now. She has been showing me the ropes here on the YouTube lives and just YouTube in general. And now she's got me into a Discord, and I'm just going over there and on Discord going crazy with all that. So, but I appreciate everything that Dandy does for me, everything that everybody does for me. Everybody who watches the lives, watches the replays, watches the videos. Oh, Dandy says you were gifted a membership from Mexi tonight. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mexi. I don't know if Mexi's here or she watched replay, but thank you, Mexi. I definitely appreciate that. Oh, hey, Michigan, almost. Hey, Michigan Wifey, how are you doing? Always good to see you here, dear. Michigan Wifey has been here with me basically from the beginning. Since I've I can't talk tonight as usual. Got to use my proper English. Michigan Wifey has been here basically since the beginning, supporting me even before I started doing live streams. She would always watch my videos, comment on my videos. So Michigan Wifey is always appreciated. Harry says, I'll join your Discord. Yeah, if Dandy can probably throw in an invite to my Discord, if you don't mind, because I'm trying not to bog down. Because I noticed earlier, I hope everything's coming through okay. It may be a little pixely, or the voice or the sound may be a little tinny, but once again, my cell service, I noticed I've been watching how many bars I have, and it's going up and down. So I apologize if it's not coming through too well. Hopefully it'll straighten itself out. But or if I disappear, going to the upside down to the twilight zone, you know that my cell service crapped out on me. So I apologize if that happens in advance. Let's see what else we got going on. Yep, thank you, Dandy. Dandy put in my Discord invite for me. Thank you. Good. Perry says sound is all good for me. Thank you. Because like I said, I'm keeping an eye on my phone. I'm recording through my phone, but I've got my laptop that I'm also, because there's two me's here again. I don't know if that's good or bad yet. So I can kind of I can record with my phone because the recording quality is better on my phone, but I can control stuff like highlighting comments and stuff better from my laptop. So And I'm also going to try to share some documents to the screen so you can read them along with me. Don't know how that's going to go yet. I tested it out earlier and it worked okay. So we'll just, but as always, like my last live stream when I tried to do this, I do have a backup plan. So if it doesn't work out the way for plan A, I do have a plan B. All right. So I know I'm babbling, but any of y'all who've watched me know that I tend to babble. So anybody, if I start babbling too bad, just tell me, hey, shut up and get to business, and we'll get to business. Okay, like I said, anybody coming in now, I didn't hear, we're going to be once again talking about Morgan Nick. Case very close to my heart. I'm very invested in it. I don't have personal ties to it, but it's an Arkansas case from my home state. Oh my goodness. Hey, Copper Horse, good to have you here. I always see you, and Copper Horse is a wonderful mod. I've been seeing her for a long time before I even started my channel in the Mob Cruise chats as a mod, and maybe in True Crime Web. I'm not sure, but I know for sure I've seen her in chats. Wonderful person, very nice, as all my viewers are. It's good to have everybody here. Getting some new faces, or not new to me, but new to joining my live. So thank you very much, everybody who is here. Okay, so that made me lose my train of thought as usual. So we will start first with I always feature a, oh god, I gotta get that banner off. Hold on. Banner. There we go. Okay. At the beginning of all my lives and or videos, I always feature missing persons, because missing persons are the heart and soul of my channel. And I don't know what my hair is doing tonight. Anyway, it's the humidity. That's what I'm blaming on. But seriously, I always feature missing persons at the beginning of all my videos and live streams. And I have two that I want to feature tonight. And I had an update that I was going to put in, and I forgot to add it to my slideshow. But I featured Hannah Ammons from Arkansas. We're missing from Arkansas. She was, I think, 17. And I think maybe she went missing from Maple Grove, Arkansas, but she has been found safe. So that's always good news. I just forgot to go back and include her in the slides. So we do have a good news about one of our missing persons. Make sure I haven't missed any comments. Oh, goodness. Harry says it's 2 a.m. Saturday morning in the UK. Oh, my goodness. Are you normally up at 2 a.m. or are you just... Regardless, thank you for being here, Perry. I appreciate it. Just checking out, make sure, like I said, make sure I haven't missed anything. I used to be better at multitasking than I am now, but yeah, Perry makes an excellent point. Perry says, thankfully, I've never experienced knowing a missing person must be mental torture for loved ones. Absolutely. Thank goodness, knock on wood, my wooden head. I've never had anybody, family members or close friends or anybody that I knew go missing or have any kind of violent crime happen to them, and I'm hoping that it stays that way. But yeah, my heart just always goes out when I share these missing person stories. My heart just goes out to the family and friends and loved ones. That's why I do what I do. That's why I created my channel. Aside from the fact that I've always been interested in true crime, but my passion has just grown into trying to bring as much awareness as I can to as many missing persons as possible, to get that information out there. And the more that you guys support me with the likes and the comments and the shares and all that stuff, it helps the YouTube algorithm. Supposedly, they say, push it out to more people, and that is the whole goal. It's for as many people as possible to get this information. Okay, back to our back to our missing. The first is Clayton Reed. He went missing from Magnet Cove, Arkansas on January 18th. So I don't even know what today is, the 26th, 27th. About a week ago. He is 32 years old, white male, 6'2", 180 pounds, with strawberry blonde hair, blue eyes. It says he was last seen in the Magnet Cove in Malvern area. He has multiple tattoos, including a Viking on the side of his head. So that would definitely stand out. The pictures it shows here that is on the screen, he has a hat on, but if he doesn't have a hat on, I'm sure that Viking tattoo would definitely stand out. So anybody in, sorry, dude. The boss, my co-host, Tigger, my cat, has just entered the room. So he may attempt to jump up on the chair because I'm in his favorite chair he likes to sleep in. He does not like it when I commandeer it. So if you see him appear behind me somewhere, just ignore him or say hi to him either way. So if you have any information about Clayton Reed, if you are in the Arkansas area, Magnet Cove area, Malvern area, please contact the Hot Spring County Sheriff's Office at 501-337-7738. All right, that is our first missing person. Oh, goodness. Hold on. I pushed the wrong button. What happened? Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm not pushing the right button. There we go. Oh, you might can see him behind me. Oh, he keeps disappearing. He's blending into the green screen. He's you can see his butt right there. Anyway, that's Tigger. That's the my co-host tonight, apparently. All right, so next we have missing Tina Atkinson. She went missing from Springdale, Arkansas, also on January 18th of this year. 17 years old, white male, 5'2", approximately 200 pounds, with red or auburn hair, brown eyes. Can't read that little writing. It says she was last seen in Springdale, Arkansas. Please contact. Okay. So if you have any information about Tina or her possible whereabouts, if you're in the Arkansas area, please contact the Springdale Police Department. What are you doing? No, you're not going to get on my lap. Now he's trying to, oh, now he's getting down. Please contact the Springdale Police Department at 479-751-4542. Make sure he's not going to attack me. Because sometimes when he gets mad at me, now he's stalking off in anger. Anyway, so Michigan wife has got cat. Yeah, he thinks he does rule the house. Yeah, he's the boss around here, Mr. Tigger. We've had him. He was a rescue. Actually, he's a double rescue because we got him just off top. Once again, off topic for a minute. He was a rescue from the lady that we got him from, which was the lady we got him from. I went to school with her, graduated with her daughter. So when his former owner she had to end up going in the nursing home a few years ago, and none of her family could, they were allergic to cats and so forth and so on. So my baby sister-in-law said, hey, I have a cat here that, and they live right next door to my baby brother and sister-in-law, or the daughter does, the one that I graduated with. So my baby sister-in-law calls one day and says, hey, I have a cat. Do you want it? If we can't find anybody to take it, he'll have to go back to the shelter. So of course we weren't going to let that happen. So we said, yeah, bring him on. And we've had him probably 3 or 4 years now, 5 years. And yeah, he's our fur baby. So like I said, he rules the house, but that's okay. Yeah, that's true, Perry. Perry says, "Don't worry, he'll find another cozy spot. They always do." Yeah, like I said, he shut the door. He stalked off, so he's probably up wandering around trying to find something to get into. No, here he comes back in. Now he's on the bed. Michigan Wifey says, "I have 5 kitties." Yeah, I'm telling you, once you get, we have. Now he's playing with my brush I left on the bed. He's behind the camera over in front of behind the camera. You can't see him, but he's decided to play with my brush. Yeah, we have one, and he just dropped it. Anyway, yeah, we have one. We have Tigger Man here. It's inside, and then we have 2 female baby girls outside um, that we feed and take care of. Plus, we live out in the country on a farm, so it's everybody that wants to get rid of it. And I just hate when they do this, or people that do this. Anybody that wants to decide that they, for some reason or other, don't want their pets anymore, whether it be dogs, cats, or whatever, they bring them out here in the country and just dump them off. But we feed any and all critters, feed and water any and all critters that end up on the farm here. We take care of them. So I'm not going to let an animal go hungry or go thirsty. So we take care of them. Harry says, "I have one cat, like a fat gray tabby cat, Garfield." Yeah, I love Garfield, the Garfield cartoon. Yep. Okay. We're already 20 minutes in. I haven't even started. But that's okay. It's a live stream. That's what it's for. Make sure I haven't missed anything important. Okay, so that was our missing. I hope I remember to give you all the info on Tina. Contact Springdale Police Department 479-751-4542. And please, I will put links to both these missing persons in the comment section when the stream ends, and then when YouTube will let me, when it uploads to the YouTube side, when it will let me, which usually takes anywhere from 12 to 24 hours, I'll go in and edit and put everything in the description box. So please, no matter where you are in the world, please share, or United States world, wherever you're watching from, please do share these missing persons, because that is the most important thing. Okay, so tonight, Morgan Nick again. And tonight we're going to talk about where is the evidence that was collected in 1995. So like I said earlier, for anybody who wasn't here, and I'm going to give you the important information about the Morgan Nick case for anybody who doesn't know a lot about this case, or have never heard of it. But we're going to be talking about Billy Jack Lincks, who is a gentleman. I don't want to call him a gentleman because he's not a gentleman. The main person of interest that was named in Morgan Nick's case in 2021. Although apparently they have had their eyes on him since 1995, which is Morgan went missing on June 9th, 1995. And apparently they've had their eye on him since 1995, but they just didn't name him formally name him the top person of interest until 2021. So, all right, so this is little Morgan, that sweet little baby girl. She went missing, like I said, on June 9th, 1995 from Alma, Arkansas. She was only 6 years old, and this is classified most definitely a non-family abduction. I'm going to read you what she was last seen wearing, because it is pertinent to the DNA and evidence information that we're going to talk about. She was last seen wearing a green Girl Scout t-shirt, blue denim shorts, and a white leather sneakers. So the main thing to remember is the green Girl Scout t-shirt. I think all her other vitals. It did say that she had 5 visible silver caps on her molars at the time of her disappearance. So if her remains were ever to be found, depending on the and I don't know if somebody could tell me, I don't know how long silver molars would last, because this case is from 95. It's 28 years old. if they were ever to find her remains, if, that would be one thing that they could tell, kind of give them an idea if it might be Morgan, due to the fact that she was known to have these silver caps on, at the time she disappeared. Hey, Junior Johnson's in the house. Hey, Junior, good to have you here. As always, my friend. It's great to have everybody here. Everybody who watches on replay also. Just going through comments, so I won't get, like Mr. Steve says, so I won't get too far behind. All right. So that is the basic information on Morgan. So when Morgan went missing, she and her mother Colleen had gone to a Little League baseball game in Alma, Arkansas. They actually lived in Ozark, Arkansas, which is only about a 30-minute drive between Alma and Ozark. So a family friend, had a son that was playing was going to be playing in this Little League baseball game that the family parents had invited Morgan and Colleen and any of the other kids that wanted it, because Morgan had, I believe, two younger siblings, maybe a brother and a sister. So the two younger siblings went to stay with the grandparents for the night, because Colleen says she didn't think that she could keep up with all the kids at the baseball game. So it was just she and Morgan attended this baseball game. So at some point during the game, Morgan and two of her friends had asked if they could go just right across the street. Now, this is a very small town, very rural community. So it's not like they were going to go miles away and have to cross a busy, 6-lane highway or whatever to get to this parking lot, but they were just going right across, almost like a single lane street, over to the parking lot. There was a sand pile over there. They were going to go play in the sand. They were going to chase fireflies. Morgan loved fireflies. That's how they finally enticed her to, because when apparently during the game, they had been asking Morgan if she wanted to go over to the parking lot and play with them. She said no, she wanted to stay with her mom. But when they mentioned that they were going to go catch fireflies, she decided that she wanted to go. So Morgan and the two friends, which was a male and a female, they're around the same age as Morgan. They might have been a couple of years older, 7, 8, 9 years old. They went right across the street to play in the sand, to catch fireflies. It was getting close. It was around 10:45. It was getting close to the end of the game. So the kids decided that they were going to go back over to and I also want to mention before because some people are going to say, why did they let them go over, that far away? It was right across the street. The parking lot was visible from the bleachers where Colleen and the other parents were sitting. So it wasn't like it was, like I said, a mile away and they had to cross a busy road to get to it. It was within eye distance. You could see the kids and the parking lot from the bleachers. So that's why they let the kids go play in the parking lot. So around 10:45, the game was beginning to end. All the kids had stopped to empty the sand out of their shoes. Apparently, little Morgan was a little bit slow at getting the sand emptied out from her shoes, so she had stopped beside their vehicle, her mom's vehicle. And the female friend that was with them had gone on ahead to go back to the bleachers to meet up with her parents. The male friend had stayed with Morgan to make sure that she got her sand empty out of her shoes and everything. And he waited until she had got one shoe done, emptied and put back on. The other shoe was emptied and she was just putting it on and tying it. And he said, I'm going to go ahead and go. Thinking that Morgan was going to be, right behind him. So he took off. The two friends got back to the bleachers. Colleen asked, where's Morgan? The male said, she was finishing up tying her shoes. She should be just right behind me. So at that point, Colleen wasn't, she said in interviews that she wasn't panicked yet or didn't think, anything of it. But after a few minutes had gone by, sorry, you drink. After a few minutes had gone by and Morgan still had not came back to the bleachers, naturally Colleen got worried. So she went out to the parking lot to her vehicle where the kids said that they last saw Morgan at, and Morgan was nowhere to be seen. Of course, obviously at that point, Colleen was panicking, worried, as any parent would be. So they started just everybody from the ball field was coming out of the ball, from the ball game in the parking lot, noticed what was going on. Everybody just started searching the general area, the parking lot, culverts, ditches, anywhere where a kid could maybe hide or whatever. Couldn't find Morgan. 911 was called almost immediately. And ironically, which I find not only ironic but disturbing, the Alma Police Department was only 1 block east of this baseball field where she disappeared from. 1 block. So we have an offender who is brazen enough, because they're assuming, I'm pretty sure that whoever took Morgan, whether it be this person of interest or not, was from this area, familiar with this area, would have had to know, or at least if he wasn't familiar with the area, if he was driving around, he would have seen that the Alma Police Department was 1 block away from this baseball field and still was brazen enough and didn't think anything about taking a child just 1 block away from a police department. So I find that very disturbing, very scary, and just goes to the, like I said, brazenness and just the mindset of this offender. Okay, so police were called. Of course, they cordoned off the area. They set up a headquarters in, I think, one of the municipal buildings, or a part of the police department. It wasn't the main police department, but it was one of the municipal buildings that was close to the police department. They set up headquarters. Of course, all the police and everybody was called in to help search. They started getting together to make plans for organized searches. No sign of Morgan. She had just, and she went from the time that the male friend had gone on before her back to the bleachers was no more than 5 minutes. They estimated it to be around 3 minutes. So in 3 to 5 minutes, Morgan disappeared, just vanished into thin air, was snatched, has never been seen again. And and we see this in a lot of cases. It's like these kids or adults, just 1 minute they're there, with a snap of a finger, they're gone. And it just so terrifying. I just can't even imagine. All right. You try to get caught up in chat again. And if I miss anybody that's coming in, I'm sorry. Hello to everybody that's here. I'm going to try to say hello to as many people as I can. Hey, Dave's in the house. Hey, Dave. It's always good to have you here, my friend. I'm glad you made it. I'm surprised you're awake. But it's like what? Let's see. I don't even know what time it is here. 9:30 or so your time, because I know you're on the East Coast. Thank you for being here as always, Dave. And anybody who's new here, if you have not, Dave does have a channel. Dandy, if you can, if she's still here. Or no, Dave, you can do it yourself. You have a wrench. You can feel free to throw your channel in there. Dave has a channel. He does late night, early morning streams, reports on any true crime in the news. He's done a lot of talking about Delphi and anything or any other breaking news that he comes across. I have been made aware of a lot of cases and things going on that I didn't know about by watching Dave's live. So please go check Dave out. He is wonderful. All right. Just going through comments again, getting caught up. Make sure nobody else has come in that I haven't seen. Junior says, I've heard this story before. Very sad. Yeah, you talking about Morgan's story? Yeah, or just in general. But either way, yeah, it's just, this is probably, aside from the West Memphis 3 case, which technically happened in Arkansas because it was in West Memphis, which is in Arkansas. Aside from West Memphis 3, this is probably the most highly publicized case, is the disappearance of Morgan. Just for obvious reasons. She was 6 years old. She disappeared. She has never been found. No real evidence, or, well, we'll get into the evidence. No real leads. Like I said earlier, they have named the one main person of interest, but he is deceased. He passed away in prison in 2000. So even if it turns out it is him, and we will talk some about other possible persons of interest, because I've never shared this before, and of course I'm not going to give any names or specifics, but I have family members who either have firsthand knowledge of some information about this case. We'll get into it when we get there. But I've decided tonight I want to share it just to reemphasize another reason why this case is so important to me. But anyway, we will get to that. And if I forget to mention it, somebody please remind me. Okay. Yeah. Perry says just a baby. Yeah, 6 years old. So sad. Yes. Perry says such a brazen crime. Yeah. I mean, because I live in a town, and Alma, I think Alma, and for anybody who doesn't know, we're going to be mentioning Alma, Fort Smith, Van Buren. They're all right in the same general area. They are on the very, trying to get my direction straight, western part of Arkansas, right on the Arkansas-Oklahoma border. I live in a town that is less than 2,000 people. Now, Alma and those areas, they're a little bit bigger, but they're still considered small rural cities areas. So for somebody, an offender to come in or be from this area, that area, and like I said, 1 block away from the police department, to grab a child is just, yeah, it is brazen, it is terrifying, and I don't know. Very scary. Oh, thank you, Dave. Dave says, I left Defense Diaries live to join this awesome live. Thank you, Dave. I would never ask anybody to leave somebody else's live just to come watch me, but I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support I can get, and I try to do the best I can without babbling too much to bring you this information, share with you this information in the most efficient way that I can. Let's see. Dave. Dave says, don't need to distract others and chat with my channel. It's fine, Dave. You can stick your link in there, and I'm sure if Dandy's here, she'll stick it in for you. I don't mind at all, Dave. You and I go back a long way, from the old true crime web days, and the before I even started my channel, when I would lurk in Mr. Steve's True Crime Web chats. I would always see you in there, and then the Morning Watch days, those good old days. So you put in whatever you want, buddy. You should still have a wrench. You can put in any links or your channel or whatever you want to put in. It's not going to be distracting. I'm probably more distracting babbling than you would be putting your channel in, but you do what you want to, no pressure. Okay. Now I forgot where I was once again. So they had set up, organized searches through the night. Of course, more. Sorry, my cat keeps opening the door. They were going to do more organized searches, continuing through the night and the next day and however long it took. So when it comes to witnesses, we had the 2 children that were with Morgan playing that witnessed what they called a creepy man that had came up and talked to them. And there were also, I don't know if it ever named how many, but there also were adult witnesses that were in the parking lot that did not witness, obviously, the abduction, but had seen and given a description of a male that they had seen talking to Morgan, Morgan in particular, but kind of all 3 of the kids in general. So these witnesses, including the children and the adults, told authorities that they observed an unidentified white male watching Morgan play on the field. That says a field, but in the parking lot. Or it may have meant the field, because we're going to get to the infamous, if anybody's watched any other of my videos about Morgan, the infamous red truck with a white camper shell. But it says that witnesses had observed this unknown white male watching Morgan play on the field earlier in the night. The man apparently approached a group of children playing with Morgan, which was Morgan and another male, a male and another female. And keep this in mind too. And it asked them a question. So keep in mind asking a question. And investigators have not publicly released any additional details about the conversation. And if I'm right, if my gut feeling is right, I have a feeling I know why they have not released information about what these potential questions or conversations were about. Because if it's what I'm thinking, it is absolutely disgusting and horrible. But we will get to that. All right. So we got Morgan missing. We have the witness statements about this unknown gentleman. All the kids called him a creepy looking man, which most definitely anybody who would come up and adult that would talk to children that they don't know in a disgusting manner is definitely creepy. All right, so what to go? Okay, so this, and I have sketches tonight too. We have 2. We're going to have, I'm going to show you 2 different sketches of this offender. This is the first sketch that you see here on the slide on the left. This is the sketch that was made, a composite sketch that was made from the descriptions that were given by the kids and these adults that were in the parking lot. And this was from 1995, right after the Morgan went missing. So this suspect was described as being approximately 23, and please keep ages and descriptions in your mind too. The suspect was described as being approximately 23 to 38 years old, and this is in 1995, around 6 foot tall, 180 pounds. It said he had a medium build, had a black or salt and pepper hair and beard and mustache. They said the hair, which was either, I've heard the term slick back or combed back. It was possibly curly or wavy. He had a mustache and 3 to 4 days growth of beard. He also, the kid said that he had a hairy chest. They said he was wearing cut off blue jean shorts, no shirt or shoes, and spoke with a hillbilly type dialect or accent, which down here in the South, most people call anybody that's not from the South says, well, you all sound like hillbillies. But there are, even within Arkansas, anybody knows, even within your own state, depending on what part of the state it comes from, there are different dialects within the state, not just like the general, southern region or northeast or Midwest or whatever the case may be. So that is sketch number 1. And I forgot what order my slides were in, so I'm just, okay, so this is the infamous red truck with a white camper shell. So this unidentified offender or unidentified man, potential, most likely abductor of Morgan, may have been driving. This is a red Ford pickup. I've heard it was a Ford. I've heard some people said it was a Chevy and a bunch of other. The main thing is it was a red truck with a white camper shell. That's all you have to basically remember. The camper shell had windows covering curtains covering the windows. And apparently this vehicle left the parking lot at approximately the same time that Morgan disappeared. The truck was described as having a dull paint job due to age. It had a short wheelbase. The camper, and this is another very distinguishing thing about this truck, the camper was possibly, no, this is not it, but I'll get to it. The camper was possibly damaged on its right rear end, and the camper shell appeared to be 4 to 5 inches shorter than the truck. And I have another slide. I'm going to show you, I'll go to it. So on the left is a little clearer version. On the right, it's a kind of an enhanced. But you can see that from, especially on the left-hand side, from where the end of the back of the cab is to where the front of the camper starts, there is a definite noticeable gap. And these stills, apparently there was somebody at the ball game that day that had a video camera. This was back in 95, so it was most likely one of the handheld camcorders, who just happened to get this vehicle on tape. And when Morgan disappeared, during that night and the following days, they went through and accounted for all the vehicles that were seen at the ball game that night, that matched them up to who was driving them, except for this red truck with the white camper shell. They could never match it to anybody who was known to be at the ball game. So that's why they centered in on this truck to possibly be the truck, and most likely the truck that the offender was driving. So let me check chat before I get behind. Yeah, Perry says maybe asking Morgan's name so he could lure her later on. Possibly. Yep. But like I said, I have a horrible gut feeling that it was something much more. Now, he probably did ask her name. He may have asked all the kids their name, but I think the offender probably was honed in on Morgan. That's just my opinion, just from things that I know and that I've read and so on and so forth. But yeah, he probably did ask her name and maybe her name, age, who she was there with. Anything is possible. Okay, so that is the infamous red truck with the white camper shell. So one of the other very important parts of this case, and also more disturbing things of this case, is within we're going to say 24 to 36 or 48 hours, 2 more attempted abductions occurred in this general area, the Fort Smith, Van Buren, Alma area. And you can see on the left, I did a Google map, and at the top of the route, the northeast is Alma. If you follow that down to the red pin there, that is Fort Smith. So between Alma and Fort Smith is about a 20-minute drive, and then Van Buren is right close. You go over a bridge, and 5 minutes or not even that long, you're in Fort Smith. So Morgan disappeared on the night of June 9th. On the morning of June 9th, in Alma, which is where the town that Morgan disappeared from, that morning, a suspect resembling Morgan's abductor, and they found this out after Morgan was abducted, and got this description of this offender in this truck. They went and looked, and they discovered these 2 other abduction attempts. So that morning in Alma, a suspect resembling Morgan's abductor tried to entice a four-year-old girl into his red truck, but fortunately, this abduction was interrupted and the girl saved when her mother saw them. And I think this is the one that said the mother basically played mama bear and separated the offender, the attempted abductor, from her daughter, and then the abductor took off. So thank God for mama bears. So he stopped when the girl resisted. The mother came out, and authorities, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so that was June 9th. The morning of June 9th, we have this attempted abduction in Alma. The night of June 9th was the successful abduction of Morgan in Alma. The next day, on June 10th, in Fort Smith, which I have here 20 minutes away from Alma, which says it's 15 miles, a suspect tried to entice a 9-year-old girl into a men's restroom at a convenience store. And he stopped when the girl resisted. Now, in this case, the girl luckily screamed and started running to find her parent, mom, dad, whoever she was there with, and he took off again. So authorities announced that the incidents both involved the same man. So apparently they were pretty sure that this was the same person, because, in my opinion, what are the odds that there are going to be two different individuals matching the same description, driving the same vehicle in that area at the same time, trying to abduct little girls? To me, the odds are pretty low on that. So yeah, in my opinion, definitely the same person. So while the individual involved in these incidents has not been confirmed to be the same man sought in Morgan's case, he resembled the suspect in her disappearance from the sketch, and so did his truck. And authorities do believe that all these three attempted abductions are linked. So once again, in my opinion, that goes back to what kind of person, whoever the offender is, very, very dangerous individual. If you have somebody that within, like I said, 24 to 36 hour time period, tries to abduct two children, successfully abducts, presumably, if it's the same person, successfully abducts another child. And this was one attempted abduction in the morning. Morgan successfully abducted that night, and then the very next day, this person was out again trying to abduct another child. Very, very scary. But I would love to know what you guys think. So do let me know. All right, once again, yes. Harry says, wow, so this perp likely has other victims unless something stopped him, like jail or illness. Yep, you're on to something. When it comes to the only publicly named person of interest in this case, most definitely. That's a good question. Perry says, how did they not trace him or the truck with all the info gathered from the 3 crime scenes? That's what I've always wondered too. So I'm assuming that with all 3 incidents, it happened so fast, and they did not connect these other 2 incidents to Morgan until they got to when they got the description of the offender and the description of the truck from Morgan's abduction. They went back and found out, hey, we have another attempted abduction here in Alma, and then 20 minutes down the road we have another attempted the next day in Fort Smith. So it could be that just the other 2 happened so fast that they, all they could give, the witnesses could give was, a brief description of the offender and a description of the vehicle. They might not have gotten, had time to look at license plate or anything else. But I've wondered that too, Perry. So that is a very good question. All right. I'm sure I haven't missed anything. Okay. So we cover, so now we have 2 attempts and 1 successful, unfortunately. Okay, so I told you about sketches. The one on the left is the one I showed you earlier, the one that came out in 1995 that was a composite from the descriptions from the children. That were 2 children that were with Morgan, and the how many of her adults were in the parking lot that also gave descriptions. So this came out in 1995 on the left. And once again, he was described as a white male, 6 feet tall, mustache and beard, believed to be between 23 to 38 years old. So then, in January of 2001, which was 6 years later, police released a second composite sketch, and that's what you see on the right hand of the slide. And they say they did this because they released this sketch because police believed him to be younger than what was initially thought. And they said that this sketch on the right is said to be more accurate. Now, I want you guys' opinion. There may be some similarities, but to me, if I saw these 2 sketches put together, I would not think that it was a sketch, supposed to be a sketch of the same person. The nose and the eyes, maybe I can see, the hair maybe, but on the left, the original sketch, 95 sketch, has more of the, like I said, 3 to 4 days growth of beard. The one on the right to me would just be what I call like just a stubbly 5 o'clock shadow, or maybe a little bit more than that. So I don't know what information they got or why they decided to release this second sketch 6 years later. When we talk about sketches, what case does that remind you guys of? I know one in particular where sketches were called into question. I'm sure somebody in chat will let me know. Well, there's a new name. Hello, Intuitive Empress 33. So glad to have you here. However you found me, thank you for being here. Empress says, I'm sure the abductor traveled to Alma from several states away so he could fly under the radar. That is absolutely a possibility. Absolutely. Yep. Because in my opinion, like I said, officially there has been named in 2021 a primary, what they call a primary person of interest. And of course, I'm sure, or I'm not sure, because I can't say I'm 100% sure about anything because I don't know. I do not have inside knowledge of what the police know. Yes, Perry, you're right. Delphi, when it comes to sketches, Delphi, absolutely. That whole thing with the 2 different sketches, the old guy and the young guy sketch. That's what these 2 sketches remind me of. So yes, thank you, Perry. You're right. That's exactly what I was thinking. Now I just, of course, lost my train of thought again. But yeah, this, I think it was on, oh yeah, Intuitive or Empress. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, just from things that I've heard, which we'll get into later, I'm still debating on whether or not I'm going to give out or tell this information. Obviously, I would, because I don't have well, I have some names, but would never give names or specific information, but just in general, I will tell it in generality, not as not to, because anybody who's watched my channel. Yes, Perry says sound has gone a bit funny. Yes, I'm working off the mobile hotspot from my phone, and my cell service sometimes craps out on me, so I apologize if the sound is a little tinny or goes in and out. But if I completely disappear, or you can't hear me at all, please do let me know. But okay, so to qualify this information that I'm debating on giving you, like I said, once again, absolutely, most definitely, no names, no specifics, just generalities. You can take it how you will, whether you want to believe me or not, but anybody who's watched my channel for any length of time or who knows me knows that I've always strived to have integrity, honesty, and transparency in everything that I share, no matter what case it is. And just so happens in this case, I do have, you'll probably call it first-hand, second-hand information from two of my family members of things that have been told to them from credible sources. So, like I said, I will share it with you, and you can do with it what you will. And that's up to you. We have royalty in the house, guys. Mr. Steve probably hates it when I call him out. We have Mr. Steve from True Crime Web. Thank you, sir. It's always an honor to have you here. He says, I hate sketches. Eyewitnesses mean well, but sketches can provide false leads. Yes, and there are, because I have a total of, I think, either 3 or 4 sketches that I'm going to show tonight, and we are going to compare all of these sketches to Billy Jack Lincks, who is the primary person of interest, who was publicly named in 2021. So yeah, sketches are, I agree with Mr. Steve. I hate sketches. Because to me, like I said, these 2 sketches up here, if I was to look at them, I would not think that they were supposed to be sketches of the same person. But again, we have to consider these were done 6 years apart by 2 different sketch artists. I know the first one, the 95 one, was done, I believe, by the Alma Police Department. I do not know who released the January 2001 sketch. I couldn't find any information on that. But yeah, 6 years apart, different sketch artists, but still, to me, it's nothing alike. The one on the right looks much younger. To me, there's just enough difference to make you go, yeah. So, but please tell me if I'm wrong, or if you guys are seeing or not seeing what I'm seeing. Yeah, Mr. Steve says, hello, everyone. Mr. Steve is great, you guys. And if none of you guys, if anybody here has not ever checked out True Crime Web, Dave, or I don't even know if Dandy's still here. I'll try to, his link, if you can't, if nobody can throw it in the chat, you can find Mr. Steve, True Crime Web link on, you can go to the homepage of my channel, scroll down to where it says visit our friends below, and it's True Crime Web. Please check out everybody that I have on my list there, and I only put special people there. It's not just for anybody. I put people that channels and people that I know and respect, and who do this for the right reasons, do the right things. I would never steer you. Hand raised, Girl Scouts honor, I would never steer you wrong with sending you to channels. All right. Yep. True Crime Way, Mr. Steve says, pixelated videos are confusing enough, and add in a sketch. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Yep. Most pixelated videos, which I may be pixelated right now. I know that's not the videos you're talking about, but Intuitive Empress says, I'm so glad you're talking about this case. Yes. Have you heard of this case? If anybody out there, show of hands, if you, whoever's watching in chat, or anybody can comment who's watching the replay, if you have heard nothing at all about this case, some about this case, if you're aware of it. Like I said, this is the case that is the closest to my heart, and it tugs on me because it is obviously from my home state of Arkansas, and there's just so much going on in this case that there, on one hand, there's a lot that's going on, and then on the other hand, there's nothing that's going on, if that makes sense. Maybe you'll understand a little bit more when we get into the DNA part. Okay, so those are the two sketches. So just checking chat, making sure I hadn't missed anything of importance here. Okay. So we'll see what my next slide is to see what we're going to talk about. Okay, so we're going to fast forward to January of 2002. So in January of 2002, a tip apparently comes in that Morgan is supposedly or possibly could be buried on a private piece of land in Boonville. And this drives me crazy. Just an aside, this drives me crazy. It says Boonville, AK, which is Alaska. It should be AR for Arkansas. Okay, got that off my chest. Anyway, this tip comes in that Morgan could be, possibly be, maybe buried on a private piece of land in Boonville, Arkansas. According to authorities, a thorough investigation reveals nothing. Apparently this information about where it was, and I can understand the police, law enforcement keep things, they don't release a lot of information, but I've done searches and searches, cannot find exactly where this was. All it says is in Boonville, Arkansas, but apparently nothing came of it. But to me, the more interesting one is the property and the trailer that is searched in Spiro, Oklahoma. This property was actually searched twice. The first time it was searched was in 2010. And from what I gather, and I do, if I don't let me forget, I have a video, some video clips I'm going to play for you about these two searches. In 2010, I can't remember. I don't know if it ever said what led them to search this property in Oklahoma in 2010 the first time. But apparently there was another tip or something else that led them to go back 7 years later in 2017 to search it again. So in 2017, it says that they did receive a tip that Morgan, once again, might be buried at a property in Spiro, Oklahoma. They did a search apparently for 10 hours, but they didn't find anything, so they called the search off after 10 hours. And I believe a trailer, an abandoned or a vacant trailer that was on this property was also searched. And they dug up parts of the yard. But apparently from the interviews I've read or articles I've read and videos I've seen, they only dug down around 2 feet, and they hit limestone or some kind of hard stone, and they quit digging after that because they said, what's the point? There's nothing under there. So that was their reasoning for calling off the search and the dig after 10 hours. But they also searched a trailer that was there. And apparently this search, the second search apparently supposedly was not initially for anything to do with Morgan's case. They said that it was to do with another case of another crime against a child, but on the off chance that something to do with Morgan, any evidence could possibly be found at this Oklahoma location, they called Alma Police Department, Arkansas State Police, and the FBI to be there just in case they found anything that might relate to Morgan's case. Now, this is just my opinion, and feel free to you guys ring in with yours. To me, and like I said, I have no inside knowledge of police concerning this part of it. But to me, and they give an explanation. I'm going to play the videos if I can figure out how to at least take my camera off and make the videos full screen to make anybody who's watching on a phone easier to see these videos. But to me, and they said that they did it because because of Morgan, you know, they had knowledge of Morgan's case and yada yada yada. But I will play the videos now. Let me get caught up. Okay. True Crime Web, Mr. C says, I talked to a client 3 hours ago who is a dead ringer for the 1995 sketch. He would have been 5 at the time, but now identical. Well, that's That's creepy. That is weird. Yeah. I'm telling you, with these sketches, I'm like you, Mr. Steve. He said earlier that he hates sketches. I'm beginning to hate sketches too, because, I mean, but you know, especially when you got 2 sketches 6 years apart done by 2 different people, and they just look, to me, in my opinion, they just look totally different. Some similarities, but not enough to make you say, yeah, that's the same person. Yes, Perry says, what an absolute nightmare for the family. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to get this video started. Okay, let me take hopefully this won't turn into a dumpster fire with me pushing buttons, and hopefully I won't disappear or the whole thing disappear. So I'm going to take that down. I'm going to oh, hold on. I'm gonna have to go out for a minute, and I'm gonna hopefully I can stop. I brought myself back up because I don't know. I thought I could stop my cam and still be where y'all could still hear me talking throughout. What happened? That's a good question. I stopped my cam. I thought I could stop my cam. So okay, so I'm going to have to do the video, play the video, and just keep my ugly mug up here. Because I thought I could stop my cam and just have my little avatar up where y'all could still hear me talking, but apparently I'm not. So I'll just leave me up here, and I apologize for the so I'm going to start this video, and hopefully I won't get flagged for. I'll try to stop and interject some comments so it'll fall under the fair use thing. But these did come from news sites, so okay. Junior says it's all good. Yeah. All right. So here goes the video. Hopefully.
In 1995, when 6-year-old Morgan Nick was abducted from an Alma ballpark.
For 15 years, police say they've been following leads in this case. One lead led FBI agents and Alma police to a trailer on Northwest 9th Street in Spiro yesterday.
4029's Joe Ellison joins us live from Spiro. Joe, what were police doing there?
Well, Craig and Angela searching this vacant trailer for any DNA evidence that would suggest whether Morgan Nick was ever here. Now, police say they're also speaking to a man who used to live here in 1995 when Morgan was abducted. Alan Coffey lives in Spiro and says he was shocked to see the FBI and Alma police at a trailer near his home on Monday.
Set up right here with a blue tent and big old truck with.
Alma Police Chief Russell White explained why officers were there.
Well, our purpose there was we didn't have any leads or tips that Morgan was there at all. We were just trying to eliminate the fact that whether she could have been or not.
White says a lead they did have.
Okay, so that's interesting. So this is the 2010 when this property in Oklahoma was searched the first time. It's interesting to say that, like I said before, they said that the search did not have anything to do with Morgan, but yet, and I can understand, and they probably, Mr. Steve could probably attest to this if he's still here better than I can, just to be on the safe side if they thought that possibly something to do with Morgan could be found at this place for whatever reason that they had any information that, whatever the case may be, that they did call the Alma police, the Arkansas State Police, and the FBI to come either this time or in 2017 or both times, I believe, while they were searching this property.
Was the name of a man who lived in the trailer in 1995. Police aren't releasing his name, but did say they have been investigating this lead for 2 years.
It's a lead that has not been cleared at this point, obviously, or we wouldn't be checking the house. When we get any lead, is try to determine if the person involved in the lead could have possibly been in Alma on June the 9th, 1995.
White says officers collected hair and fibers from the Spiro trailer, but aren't confident they'll find anything.
This is not something that we put priority on, that we're trying to rush through. We tasked the lab with a lot of work for this one case. And sometimes we feel like a lead is important enough that we need to run it through and try to push it through as quick as we can. This is not one of those leads.
Now, police say following up.
So he says that he said that they said it's not in, from what I gather, unless I misunderstood, that they did call in FBI, even up to the FBI, but on the other hand, he says that they don't think it was important enough to push any evidence that they may have found through quickly. So, go figure. And Mr. Steve has said, I want to read that. It said, Mr. Steve says, honest to a fault, fishing expedition, but trying. Yeah. And Junior says they must have a suspect in mind. Yeah, I in my opinion, there are, and there has to be, I say have to be, I don't know, other persons of interest, or at least people that they have looked at, suspects, or I don't say suspects, potential persons of interest and or suspects they've looked at that they have not released the name. They did actually release one other name publicly, but ironically they released that name, and come to find out this gentleman they cleared him, but they released his name, but they have not released any other names. So it's just, I understand why law enforcement do what they do, but to me, it just seems weird sometimes. Some of the things seem weird. All right, back to the video.
Up on leads like the one here at this trailer isn't uncommon. Investigators say nearly every day they receive a lead in the Morgan Nick case, and investigators spend a lot of time tracking down those leads, but so far nothing solid has turned up. Angela, Craig.
Well, Joe, police were collecting evidence from the trailer. When will we know if they find anything?
Well, police tell us they've collected so much that it could take months to get it all back from the crime lab.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
And by the way, police say that even though they have been following up on this lead for years, they decided to check the trailer now because it became vacant.
Dig up there and take care of it.
Okay, so that was the coverage of the 2010 search. This next video is about 6 minutes, and this is a law enforcement official from the Oklahoma police. I think it's whatever county that Spiro is in Oklahoma. I think this gentleman is the sheriff or a deputy or somebody associated with the county that Spiro is in Oklahoma. And you have to kind of listen. I'll try to stop it because it's a little hard to hear the questions that they're asking him. You can hear his responses, so I'll try to stop it and with all the pertinent questions that people ask. So this is from the 2017 search.
So once they get that property cleaned up, and he's satisfied with the cleanup job that the city's done up there, then everybody at this point will be leaving, clearing the scene. So they're just going to remain long enough to make sure everything's
Harry,
cleaned up.
I will get to your
homeowners
question.
happy, and then we'll go on from there.
Are you satisfied that there's no evidence at that scene?
Yeah, we're satisfied there's no evidence at that scene.
So if you didn't hear it, the reporter asked, are they satisfied that there's no evidence on Morgan's case that was found in this second search? And he said, yes, they're satisfied.
What led you to do all that digging?
There's a tip that came in basically through, I think it originated with the task force here in LaFleur County. It came to up to Panama PD, who's Chief Whitaker has been very familiar with a lot of stuff that's going on with this. And then from there, it went on to the OSBI and FBI. And then it's like we also called the Arkansas State Police and Alma Police Department. And then because of the possibility, we could uncover something that had to do with Morgan's case because of that, the location that we're digging at. So we wanted to make sure that if we did uncover something that was related to that case, that we had the people that were dealing particularly with that case there on scene.
Okay, so that's interesting what he said to me. What he says is they ask him why, to the effect that why did you call in the Alma State Police, the Arkansas State Police, if this search had nothing to do with Morgan? And he said, due to the proximity, which I think Spiro, from what I've looked up, is pretty close to the Arkansas border, Oklahoma-Arkansas border line. But I don't know. And they did say, and I don't know if he said it yet, they did say that it did have something to do with another different offender, child offender from another case. And like he said, he said they just wanted to cover their bases apparently with the Morgan Nick case just in case. And I'm going to put the video back up, and I'm going to try to turn off my cam for just a minute. And hopefully it won't mess up the video, but if I disappear, I will be back, hopefully.
So we're satisfied that we haven't uncovered any evidence relating to any of the cases that we're interested in. So like I say, at this point, we're just going to clean that property back up and satisfy the homeowner, and thank him for his cooperation with us. His consent to let us do this allowed us to get it done in a timely manner and not have to go through the process of getting search warrants and all that kind of stuff. So we're satisfied that everything is completed at this point.
So what was the tip? Yeah, what were you digging for on your end?
That's still an ongoing investigation, so I have to decline to comment on what we're doing on that because we may have some other leads come in that we want to follow up on that.
Sheriff, how far down did y'all dig today? I mean,
only dug down about 2 feet, and it's solid bedrock underneath all of that. So there's nothing else there. We speculated that we could have possibly found an old well up there, but it's not there. It's just like I say, about 2 feet down, and some places not even that far down. It's solid bedrock sandstone.
So there is no well.
Okay, so this is what I had read in an article, that they got a tip that Morgan in 2017, the 2017 tip was in regards to the possibility that Morgan could have been buried in a well that was located on this property. But you heard him say they dug down 2 feet, they hit bedrock, so they don't, if there was a well there at one time, well, no, that wouldn't make sense because bedrock has been there forever or whatever. Now, if they had come across concrete, man-made, that was covering up a well, then yeah, I would think something was up. But if they hit bedrock 2 feet down, that's natural. So you're assuming that it's been there forever, or So that was the tip, the well tip, as I call it.
There is no well.
And you guys even use cadaver dogs, and we heard that they hit on something.
What's that?
Cadaver dogs, they hit on something, did they, or did they not? What do you know?
Okay, if you didn't hear, the reporter just asked if cadaver dogs hit on anything, because cadaver dogs were used in this search too.
We used some cadaver dogs up there yesterday, and one of them indicated at a point where supposedly that maybe this well was located at, but there was absolutely nothing there.
Where does the Morgan Nick case go from here?
Okay, once again, if you couldn't hear, the reporter asked, where does the Morgan Nick case go from here?
That I couldn't tell you. My office is not investigating that case, and so that'll be up to the Arkansas authorities and the FBI who are working that.
Can you talk
FBI.
about how thoroughly this dig was done? We heard that you guys were looking at every leaf and every twig. Can you talk about how thorough this?
Well, we had to cut down some brush and things over there yesterday to get access to some clear ground to where we wanted to dig at. After that was done, then that dig was done about an inch or two at a time with the soil drug back, and then that way the forensic pathologist from the state medical examiner's office could thoroughly look at everything that was being moved.
Are you 100% confident that there's no evidence in that line?
Yeah, I'm 100%.
Okay, so if you couldn't hear it, because I'm having trouble hearing it, the reporter asked if they are absolutely confident that there's no evidence to be found at this area.
Confident that there's no evidence there in that location.
Talk about when the FBI was out here in 2010. What led them to that scene 7 years ago?
I really couldn't tell you. That was way before my tenure, and I've never been involved in that Morgan Nick case. So, as to exactly what led them there to that residence, I don't know. I believe that a person of interest in that case, from what I understand from Chief Russell at Alma, was that there was a person of interest that used to live there at that residence at that time, and that's what led them there to that residence.
Is their person of interest the same person of interest in your case?
No.
So the reporter, if you didn't hear that, the reporter said if that person of interest that he was just talking about in the Morgan Nick case was the same person of interest in the case that the Oklahoma was looking at. And he said no.
The person of interest that used to live there is now in the Oklahoma State Penitentiary on other child molestation and rape charges. So he's currently in McAllister at Oklahoma State Penitentiary.
Has Morgan Nick's mother been notified that you all are finished?
They will notify her that we have finished looking up here. They had notified her that we were going to be up there digging, and that there was a.
And if you're wondering, if you couldn't hear, the reporter asked if Morgan's mother, Colleen, had been notified about this search.
Potential, to uncover any kind of evidence related to her daughter's case. So they will contact her when they clear the scene up there and tell them that we're finished.
What's the person of interest name? Do you know?
Last name is Phillips. I can't remember his first name.
The person of interest, last name is Phillips.
He's currently incarcerated in Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAllister.
Is any of this dirt or leaves or brush?
Okay, so that was. Let me remove that and put my slides back up. Get full screen so I can see it again. So that. What are your guys? And I hope y'all could hear that okay. I tried to, because it was a little hard to hear the reporter's questions, but what do you guys think about? Because he did say that this Oklahoma law enforcement gentleman that was speaking said that they were the Arkansas State Police and or FBI and or Alma Police Department did think that whoever this person that was living there at the time could be a possible person of interest in Morgan's case. Once again, they gave the last name. I think it said it was Mitchell. I've never heard that name. Of course, they're not going to release everything publicly, but I've never heard or read or heard any inklings of that name anywhere. So it's anybody's guess about why, like I said, covering their bases, basically, I believe is what Mr. Steve said earlier. Okay, let's get to some comments. Perry said, oh, hold on, I have to go back out because hold on, technical difficulties. Go back to slide. So Perry says at least it's been ruled out, saves current and future investigators going over all ground. Exactly. Like I said, the second search, the 2017 search, which is what the last video was talking about. That was the tip about the well that Morgan could possibly been buried in a well that was located on this property. So they dug 2 feet down, bedrock or whatever it was they hit. So they ruled that out. And I think I missed this comment. Perry also said if it was the same person who attempted the other 2 abductions as well, he must have continued offending until something stopped him. Are there any other known potential victims? Not that have been released, named publicly. I'm sure, I say I'm sure, I'm not sure. When I say I'm sure, I'll say I would assume that local police, Alma Police Department, Crawford County Police Department, Arkansas State Police, FBI did go back and look to see if there are any other missing children cases, missing person cases in this area and possibly over into the Oklahoma area around Spiro and just across the line. Because like I said, Alma, Fort Smith, that whole Van Buren is right on the Arkansas and Oklahoma border. So I'm assuming that they did go and look at potential, or if they did have any other. Now, I have never heard, and I try to keep up with this, but I can't keep up with everything, but I have never heard of any other missing children cases from that area. But a place you can go to find that out is go to truecrimeweb.com. They have what is called Cyclops. It is a missing, not just for missing children, a missing person database from. They cover all 50 states. You can go on there on the map, and they have pins, the little red pin things or whatever you call them, from like Google Maps, that you can click on them and it'll tell you the information about the missing people. So you can check that out. And Junior says that's what I was thinking, that the suspect lived there before. See, that's what I'm wondering, because I do know from getting public records reports that as far as I could see, Billy Jack Lincks, who we're fixing to get into, and I gotta hurry because I'm already an hour and a half in and we haven't got to the good stuff yet. Billy Jack Lincks, who is the primary publicly named person of interest, does have ties to Oklahoma, because when I did a search of his public records, he had, I think, either at least 1, maybe 2 telephone numbers that were associated with Oklahoma. Now, it may be nothing and maybe something, but as far as property or anything else that would connect him to Oklahoma, I couldn't find that. All I found was either a cell phone or a landline that was number that was connected to Oklahoma. So that's all I found, but it is interesting nonetheless. Okay, so got to get moving. So this is Mr. Billy Jack Lincks. This is the only publicly named primary person of interest in Morgan's case. Now, they did not formally name him a person of interest until 2021. He was in prison at the time. He was actually deceased at the time because he passed away in prison in 2000. So 21 years after he passed, he was formally named a person of interest in Morgan's case. So just a little background on Mr. Lincks. Like I said, 2021, authorities named Billy Jack Lincks as a primary person of interest in Morgan's abduction. He passed away in prison in 2000 while serving time for attempted child abduction, and I'll give you that information. This attempted child abduction, it happened in Van Buren, which is once again, in that Van Buren, Alma, Fort Smith. It was an 11-year-old girl. It was 2 months after Morgan disappeared, and it was, I believe, this says a few miles. I believe it was 7 to 8 miles away from the baseball field where Morgan disappeared from. So, that is Mr. Billy Jack Lincks. So, as far as his, in August of 1995, which is, like I said, 2 months after Morgan disappeared, Billy Jack Lincks attempted to abduct an 11-year-old girl from a Sonic in Van Buren, Arkansas. She was with either 2 or 3 of her brothers and one of her brother's friends, because there were 5 in all. There were 4 boys and the 11-year-old girl. And I believe the boys were younger. The girl was the oldest, 11, and the boys were, age range went down. So a man in a red truck, did not have a white camper shell on it, but we will get to that. The children had been out bike riding. They had stopped at, they said, a couple of ice cream shops. They were closed. They went to Sonic. It was the only thing that was open. They got some drinks and some French fries. Apparently there was some, like a brick wall close to the Sonic. They were sitting there eating their fries and drinking their drinks. A man in a red truck pulled up half in the parking where you come into the Sonic and halfway in the street. He motioned the kids to come over. They all went over there. He then gave the boy, he pulled out, started waving money around. He gave the 4 boys each $1 to go away so he could be alone to talk to the 11-year-old girl. They did take he apparently dropped the money on the ground, and the girl picked it up and gave the money to the boys. They did not go very far away from her, thank goodness, because they didn't want to leave her there with this guy that, they don't know, coming up and talk to her or to them. They pulled a little bit up the road so he could supposedly get out of the line of traffic. The boys followed at a distance, kept a close, the boys sat down on, I believe it was the porch steps of a vacant house that was right there close. The 11-year-old girl stayed there. She was close, but not too close to the truck. He offered her he said he wanted to talk to her, ask her some questions. She asked him what he wanted to talk about. He then said some very disgusting things that I cannot and will not say on YouTube or anywhere. He said some very disgusting things. You can probably gather what I'm talking about. He then offered her money to go home with him so they could go do these disgusting things. Luckily, she said, I don't want to have anything to do with it. He still was trying to get her in the truck. She got scared, obviously. She turned around, started screaming at the boys, let's go. So the kids ran back up to the Sonic. Meanwhile, the offender, Billy Jack Lincks, because he was convicted of this, and we'll get to, I'll give you the details on some of the details on his trial, but I got to hurry up. I'm getting so behind. When she started screaming and the kids started running back up towards the Sonic, he took off in the truck, hit a telephone pole or grazed a telephone pole on his way out, and presumably went back to his home. When the kids got back up to the Sonic, one of the employees of the Sonic called the police. Of course, investigators, police officers came out, took the statements from the children, got description of the offender or the alleged abductor. There was also an adult witness who was working at a business across the street, I believe, who had been taking out trash to a trash bin. He got the license plate of the truck. So through this license plate, they ran the license plate, and when the witness gave them the license plate number, he had transposed one of the numbers. So when they put it in the way the witness initially told them it didn't come up, but they switched one number around, ran it, and it came up to a truck owned by Billy Jack Lincks. So that's how they connected Billy Jack Lincks to this incident. Okay, so that is the basic of that. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep up comments. Junior says that's what I was thinking. The suspect lived there before. I'm sorry if I've read that already, but there we go. Okay. So they so that was my version, my version of what I've read from other articles from memory. Should pretty much match up with what this information here came from uncover.com. So yeah, I talked about he was allegedly drunk. I think in his, because I downloaded, I found, thanks to one of my YouTube friends who's got me into looking up documents, I found the Arkansas public database where you can go in and find court documents, and I found a bunch of court documents, which is how I found out about this DNA that was collected in 95, and apparently nobody knows where it's at now. But that is, I want to get to that because that is the whole purpose of my video tonight, and I'm already almost 2 hours in and hadn't even got to it yet. So, okay, so once again, another sketch. The sketch on the left is a composite sketch given from the description of the children that was given of this alleged man, or this offender who attempted to abduct this 11-year-old girl. And the black thing on his head, I know it's kind of blurry because it's a photocopy, black and white, but it is a red baseball cap with white lettering on the front, is what it was described as. I mean, I can see a resemblance to, and I have no doubt in my mind that in this case, this offender was Billy Jack Lincks, because he was arrested, tried, and convicted. But I can see similarities because one thing that all the children said about his description was the sagging of the cheeks, which you can see in the sketch, and then Billy Jack Lincks has sort of saggy cheeks and the droopy eyes and the beard stubble. And then they also, of course, like I said, described the red hat with the white lettering on the front. The only difference is with the sketch, they did not mention that he was wearing glasses. You know, and Billy Jack Lincks wears glasses, prescription glasses. It's on his driver's license that he's supposed to be wearing glasses when he's driving, but that's the only difference, and it could be minor, supposedly, or he admitted in his statement that he gave with interview with police about this incident that he had been drinking all day. He drank like a fifth of rum, and he was going out. Supposedly, when this incident happened, he was in Fort Smith, and he was going to Van Buren to buy some more liquor, and he just happened to come across these 3 kids. He remembered everything about this incident except what he said to the 11-year-old girl, conveniently. But anyway, so there's another sketch. You guys can make your decision about what you think about the sketch. To me, it's decent, but Okay, so so I was going to read, this is an affidavit for search warrant from Detective Kevin Johnson, who is a detective at that time. He's retired now, with the Van Buren Police Department, I believe. But he, Detective Kevin Johnson, does has had did work with on Morgan's case extensively too. I was going to read you that, but it basically just describes the incident with the 11-year-old girl, like I told you, so I'm not going to repeat it because I'm running late. So this is a search warrant. So after the detectives and the officers got statements from all the children, they matched the license plate, found out it was Billy Jack Lincks' truck. They got a search warrant for the truck. So this is just a search warrant, red pickup truck bearing license plate. I can't read it, but trying to get to the good stuff. Okay, so this is where the evidence part comes in. That could possibly pertain to Morgan's case. So in 1995, 2 months after Morgan disappeared, and just to finish up with the 11-year-old case, Billy Jack Lincks was charged, convicted of solicitation of a child, sentenced to 6 years in prison, but he passed away 4 or 5 years into the sentence. So that is what happened as far as the 11-year-old girl attempted abduction. That he was convicted of it, served time, and he passed away in prison. Okay, so to this evidence. In 1995, 2 months after Morgan disappeared, in connection to this Van Buren case, they got the search warrant to search Billy Jack Lincks' truck. So what they collected, I'm going to try to read it. I don't know if I can read it better off my phone. So they collected eight evidence bag containers with assorted items from behind the seat, 2 evidence bags containing assorted items from under the seat, 1 bag from stuff from the driver's visor, a bag containing assorted items from the glove box. To me, what I'm interested in is a controlled vacuum filter. They took vacuum samples, and this is just part of it, took vacuum samples from the floorboard of the seat and behind the seat. And down at the bottom, if you see a type of analysis requested, it says check items number 1 through either 14 or 19 for human hair. Check items 16 through 20 for blood, and in parentheses, it says human, or not parentheses, whatever, human blood. And it says compare item 17 and item 21. I don't know what that is. And then the rest of it is just comparing the paint transfer that they found on the pole from when we ran into the pole from the 11-year-old attempted with paint samples that they took from the truck. But like I said, what I'm interested in is the collection, the vacuum samples, and the collection of the hair and blood. Possible, well, it was human blood. Okay, so once again, they took vacuum samples from the floorboard, the seat, behind the seat, under the seat, the dashboard, and the headliner of Billy Jack Lincks' truck. So basically the whole truck, they took vacuum samples from. So Dave is back, apparently. I didn't know you left, Dave. Welcome back, Dave. Okay, so moving on. They also, and this was, okay, so hold on, let me go back. So these were the items that were submitted to the crime lab for examination after they were collected. So we got the vacuum samples. We also have an evidence bag containing a cutting from the front of the bench seat of the truck. And it says, according to a preliminary test conducted by Parsons, who was one of the CSI techs or CSI people, her findings were that this piece contained a spot of human blood. So if Mr. Steve is still here, he can, he's the CSI guy, among many other things. I'm assuming that means they did what they call the presumptive test for blood. Now, I don't know if the presumptive test can tell whether or not it's human blood or just that it is blood, either human or animal or whatever the case may be. But evidently, they found it important enough that they collected it and took it into evidence. All right, so that is that. So we get to the crime lab analysis, and what I find interesting, and how they phrase it. Not well, it's interesting what they found, but how they phrase. Down at the bottom, you'll see it says results of analysis. Hairs were collected from various items and are being retained for future possible comparisons. So that tells me, or I would assume, or in my mind, that would mean they kept them to possibly somewhere down the line compare them if any other evidence came up in any other cases, such as the Morgan Nick case, that they could compare. Or, like I said, these were collected in 1995. They either, like they said, compare them to other cases that were current, such as Morgan's, or save it for down the line when. And Mr. Steve, I saw Mr. Steve just commented. Oh, wrong one. Sorry, Perry. I appreciate your comment, but I'm looking for this one. Mr. Steve says in 1995, presumptive probably wasn't species specific. Okay, that's what I was wondering, if they could tell from the presumptive test if it was human or animal or whatever. So thank you for that. So anyway, like I said, I found it interesting that how they worded it, they were retaining it for future possible comparisons. So that leads me to believe, in my opinion, to compare to anything that they might come up with or have that they did not announce publicly regarding Morgan. As far as I know, there has not been was no evidence released. Like I said, released publicly, no evidence. I think they said they did collect from when Morgan was abducted from the parking lot. They collected maybe like a soda can or a cigarette butt, just to test, just in case it has something to do. But as far as I know, they never released publicly if anything came of it. Okay, so moving on. So this is once again more results from the crime lab results. So Q1, it says items submitted. Q1, which was the cutting from the seat with the presumed blood stain. Q2 was an envelope with scraping from the dashboard of truck, which I've read that they also thought that could possibly be blood. Results of examination. And it says items Q1 and Q2 were collected from Billy Jack Lincks' truck. It says blood not further characterized was identified on Q1, which was the cutting from the truck seat. This cutting with blood stain has been retained for consideration of possible future analysis. Once again, just like the hair. And it says that blood was not found in Q2, which was the envelope, which was the scrapings from the dashboard. So, and this was the 1995 collection of evidence. Now, years later, around 2019, 2020, right, not too long before Billy Jack Lincks was formally named as a person of interest, some 20, 25, 30 years later, investigators who are currently investigating Morgan's case in 2019, 2020, tracked down his truck because after Billy Jack Lincks was put in prison, his truck was sold at auction. They tracked down the current owners of the truck in around 2019 to 2020. They did more vacuuming and whatever, collected more evidence possible evidence. From that, about the only thing they did say, they'd collected one hair, more blood, and green fibers that optically and microscopically matched very closely, almost identical to the green Girl Scout t-shirt that Morgan was wearing when she disappeared. And they compared this to a same kind of Girl Scout t-shirt, same age, same generation. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it would, if Morgan had multiple green Girl Scout t-shirts, because I know I was a Girl Scout, and I don't know, I had 1,000 of the same kind of Girl Scout shirts. So, but it was the same age, same generation, and they said that they were very, very similar. So that was the 2019-2020 when they found his truck over 20 years later. But back to the evidence in 1995. Okay, so this was just after they collected this evidence from Billy Jack Lincks. That's when he was arrested and charged and convicted of the venue crime. Okay, so we're going to compare. We're going to go back to sketches again for a minute. So this is the 1995 sketch. To me, I can see a little bit of a resemblance maybe around the mouth area. But to me, that's about the only, and the biggest thing too is, once again, no glasses and the hair. 1995 witness descriptions said the offender, or the unknown male who was the supposed, or the most likely abductor, had dark or salt and pepper hair that was combed back, was either wavy or curly. And keep in mind, Billy Jack Lincks in 1995 was 70. He was born in 1924, so he was 71 years old. The description, and I'm not doing this to try to say that Billy Jack Lincks is not a possible person of interest, because I think there's definitely evidence there, in my opinion, that he could be. But I'm just saying, with this sketch, Billy Jack Lincks was 71 years old at the time. And of course, at the ball field, you have to take into consideration it was dark. Most of the witnesses that were given the descriptions were children. And I'm not even a good, I know, get down. My cat is back. I'm sorry. I'm not even a good judge of how old somebody is, but to me, I could definitely tell the difference between somebody who was in their 70s with balding on the top to somebody who might be a little bit younger, who definitely had hair on their head, if that makes sense. That's just my opinion, like I said. And there was no mention in the 1995 witnesses from the ball field of the unknown male abductor having any kind of hat on, because they saw his hair. So that's just my opinion. Please let me know. Let me get to some comments. Perry says they seem to have done a decent, thorough job processing that vehicle. Yeah, and we're going to get to that. The whole point of this video, I have an article that I'm going to read from Detective Kevin Johnson, who was the detective that helped collect this evidence, or was investigating this, was there at least, and did, I believe, help collect some of this evidence from 1995. I'm going to read an article from him about what happened to this evidence, or who knows what happened to this evidence after it was turned over. Okay, we're going to get to that. But anyway, I want to get to Mr. Steve says, odds are human due to location, cleaning fluids, and sometimes presumptive can destroy DNA. Yes. And like I said, they never released publicly. Sorry, I'm closing my door again. My cat keeps going in and out. They never released publicly if they found anything. Well, they said from the 2019-2020 search, the hair could not be definitively matched to Morgan. The blood was too degraded, 30 years later, to be matched to Morgan or to anybody. The only thing that they really were going on linking Billy Jack Lincks to Morgan was, and it, to me, it's good evidence. Mr. Steve once again could speak to it, was the fiber, how close a match it was to the shirt that Morgan was known to be wearing when she disappeared. But thank you, Mr. Steve, for all your input. I appreciate it. And I hate to call you out. I know you're don't come on here to I know you like to lurk sometimes, but so just feel free to interject or not interject. Sir, you have my utmost respect when it comes to things like this. Okay, so that is a 1995 sketch once again, and let me know what you guys think about these sketches. So 2001 sketch, the second sketch, the younger guy sketch, if you will, making reference to Delphi. To me, except maybe for the mouth, maybe the eyes, but not really. I don't see any, and the stubble. But once again, like Mr. Steve said, he hates sketches. I hate sketches, but I thought it was just worth taking a look at. And like I said, I'm not trying to say that I don't think Billy Jack Lincks shouldn't be the primary or a person of interest, but I just think from, like I said, things that I have secondhand knowledge to me, but firsthand knowledge from family members that have been told things from credible sources. I believe there are other persons of interest out there that have probably definitely been looked at, just have not been named publicly, rightfully so, unless they find a definitive connection to Morgan. All right, let's see what else I got. Okay, so before I keep rattling on, we're going to get to this article, and let me bring it up. Hopefully I can bring it up on my computer without crashing everything. No, that's not what I want to bring up. Hold on. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Good Lord, I got a bunch of stuff going on. I hope I didn't crash the whole thing. I hope y'all can still see me. I'm still up on my phone, so I'm doing good. Let me bring that back up. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I'm sorry. I promise, guys, this is going to be worth it when I finally get to the point of this whole thing. Okay, so let me minimize that. Bring up another tab. Go to my bookmarks. Okay. All right. Hopefully it'll load. Because if it doesn't load, then, okay, it's loading. So this is an article from KARK.com, which is one of our local news station websites. And it is originally published in February of 2022, and it was updated in February of 2023. As you can see on the slide, the title says DNA in 1995 attempted abduction case could give answers to Morgan Nick kidnapping. The detective who arrested an Arkansas man in an attempted kidnapping case in 1995, that is the Billy Jack Lincks case, 11-year-old girl Van Buren, believes evidence from that investigation may provide answers in the search for Morgan Nick, but no one can confirm where this evidence is. And obviously it says that before this story was published that Morgan's mom, Colleen, was made aware of these findings prior to the publication and broadcast of this story, this information. So it says page by page, a case file is put together. This is property, sorry, ads keep popping up. This is the property and evidence that we took, retired Van Buren police detective Kevin Johnson recalled. These are my notes right here. So this is the same detective, Kevin Johnson, that we've been talking about with the Billy Jack Lincks case, and back in 95 with Morgan's case. It was August of 1995 when Johnson got a call to investigate an attempted kidnapping on South 5th Street. An 11-year-old girl with her brothers. They were getting a soda, french fries. Records show a drunk man driving a red Chevy pickup truck pulled up and started making indecent comments to this 11-year-old girl. The case file reveals the man started waving money around like a fan. He told the 11-year-old that she could have the money if she would go to his house. Luckily, we discussed earlier, she screamed and took off running. Officers report the girl started to run and scream. The truck took off, swiped a utility pole, all that. Johnson arrived on scene with a heightened senses because just one town over in Alma, investigators were entering their 3rd month into the search for Morgan Nick. Your senses are more high. Oh, shoot. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Retired Detective Johnson says your senses are more heightened than what's going on right now. These don't happen. They're very rare. It's talking about the abduction of Morgan, or abductions of children around those parts. Johnson knew, oh my goodness. Sorry, the ads keep popping up. My screen keeps jumping. I promise, guys, we're going to get there. Okay, so it says your senses are heightened. So he was thinking about the Morgan Nick case. A key witness reported getting the truck's license plate. They told officers. We went through that. They ended up matching. The plates came back to Billy Jack Lincks, and Johnson said, former detective Johnson said he knew he had the suspect for the 2000 or the 11-year-old abduction case. Once we went to his place of residence, found the pickup, found the mark on his truck from him striking the telephone pole. He was intoxicated. Johnson says, yeah, we knew pretty quick that it was him. Lincks was interviewed by Johnson at Van Buren Police and then charged and convicted of solicitation of a child. So digging deeper, when asked if Morgan Nick ever came up in the search, Detective Johnson noted that his agency reached out to state and federal authorities in 1995. He says that's the very reason we did turn that over to the state police and FBI. Johnson's 1995 memo reveals Lincks was released to the Arkansas State Police and the FBI for further interviews after they were done questioning him about the incident in Van Buren. And according to him, he says, we know what that interview was. That was the Morgan Nick interview. So, in other words, he knew or felt that they were interviewing, that Arkansas State Police and the FBI were going to interview Billy Jack Lincks about Morgan's case. He says his part was over. My interview was over, he said. More than a week later, and with a search warrant in hand, records revealed the Arkansas State Police searched Lincks' red pickup truck. And Johnson, retired Detective Johnson, says, I think it was specific for Morgan Nick. Documents show investigators found hair fibers on the seat and floorboard, duct tape, a tarp, rope, machete, and blood in one of the seats. Now, there's been a lot made of finding the, and it could be something, it could be nothing, of finding the duct tape, the tarp, and the rope. It could be something that would be used in a child abduction, but then again, it could be used for something just, farm truck, what I would call country trucks. You're going to find duct tape, you're going to find tarp, you're going to find rope. The machete, I'm not so sure about, but I mean, who knows? It is Van Buren. If anybody from around here that's watching and knows Arkansas, you know what that Van Buren, Fort Smith area is like. But in any case, It's any sort of DNA or blood evidence is always one of the most important aspects of any investigation. Former prosecutor and partner at Camps and Ward law firm Kelly Ward explained. He lived about 13 minutes from where Morgan disappeared. DNA technology started coming online in Arkansas in 1995, about the same time that the crime lab confirmed blood on Lincks' truck seat. And once again, it was just confirmed as blood, never publicly released if it was human blood, animal blood, whose blood. It could have been Billy Jack Lincks' blood, for all we know. It could be somebody that was in his truck, legitimately. You cut yourself, and and it didn't ever say how big the spot of blood was. It could have been the size of the end of your pinky, or it could have been, they never specified how big the spot of blood was. Publicly, they didn't. So where is this evidence? That is the question. A state laboratory document shows the blood was retained for, like we said earlier when I was reading the documents, the blood was retained for consideration of possible future analysis. So where is the blood, and could it offer any insight into Morgan's case? Arkansas State Police spokesman Bill Sadler provided a written statement that the sample collected from Lincks' truck was last known to be potentially used in a separate criminal investigation. And I took that to mean, I'm just assuming that to mean Morgan's case. On September 20th, 1995, 22 days after the investigation began, an Arkansas State Police CID investigator discussed with crime lab personnel the possibility of submitting one particular evidence sample from the Van Buren case, along with other evidence, to the FBI lab for analysis in connection with another case. But there was no mention of Morgan Nick. So I will leave it up to you. I have my opinions, but I will leave it up to you guys watching replay. I think they were saving it for, like they said, future analysis in Morgan's case, if anything ever came up that they could compare it to regarding Morgan. He goes on to say, at this juncture, it would be inappropriate for the Arkansas State Police to offer any further narrative regarding the evidence, as it may relate to the case presently under the jurisdiction of another law enforcement agency. And this was according to Sadler from the Arkansas State Police. So, sources said the blood sample is not at the Arkansas State Crime Lab. Alma Police Chief Jeff Pointer confirms the blood evidence is not at the Alma Police Department either. So, could it be with the feds? FBI Little Rock had only 2 words to say: no comment. So, to me, it could just mean we're not going to tell you, no comment. It could mean that they, either way, they do have it or they don't have it. In my opinion, it's just my opinion, I think they have it, but I could be wrong. You need to analyze that DNA. You need to compare that DNA to a relative of Morgan Nick, Ward said. If it was a match, what it would tell us is Morgan Nick was in that truck at one time. Johnson said he did not collect, and this is retired detective Kevin Johnson said he did not collect the blood or hair fibers from Lincks' truck. In 1995, Arkansas law did not require agencies to keep evidence from some cases, such as attempted kidnapping, which is what they were collecting the evidence for, an attempted kidnapping. And we're told that changed in 2011. So apparently they changed where they do have to keep it. I'm not sure what that means. That was what I was assuming, was they changed it where they did keep it or file it or something. Detective Johnson says, I wish we could go back and look at all the evidence and take it now underneath the microscope that we have now in 2022. Exactly. The former detective recalled Lincks being cooperative with him, but documents show that when Arkansas State Police and the FBI started their interview with Lincks, he lawyered up. So in other words, he didn't want to talk to him about Morgan Nick. Which, like I said, could be something, could be nothing. A lot of people, even if they're innocent, will ask for a lawyer just because, and that's their right. I fully understand that. So detectives went home in 1995 to speak with Lincks' neighbors. One neighbor told an investigator that he thought that Billy Jack Lincks had a camper shell on his red pickup truck about 2 months prior, which is when Morgan disappeared. But had since removed it because there was no camper shell on the truck from the attempted abduction in Van Buren of the 11-year-old child. Last year, Alma police released the photo of the red truck. I showed you that picture, which officers believe the driver is Morgan's abductor. Now, Johnson says some characteristics of the truck and of Lincks may fit with what happened in Alma, but he still has a hard time wrapping his mind around it. So this is what I'm getting to about other possible, maybe some doubts about Billy Jack Lincks and some other possible persons of interest. So Kevin Johnson, retired detective Kevin Johnson, who was heavily involved in the Van Buren case, heavily involved in Morgan's case. He says of Billy Jack Lincks, I did not think he was the type that would do that, but that was me personally, he said. I had dealt with Mr. Lincks since 1983. He had been arrested several times for DWI. The former detective said one day the right pieces of the puzzle will come together and the case will eventually be solved. That is all we can hope for. Someone will say the right thing at the right time, he said. The FBI, I know they have my field notes from the Morgan Nick case. So he provided the FBI with all his notes. At this moment, no one has confirmed where the blood evidence or the other evidence is. So we know Billy Jack Lincks was officially named in 2021. Billy Jack Lincks was born and raised in Crawford County, which is where Van Buren, Fort Smith, Alma is. He served with the U.S. Army during World War II. He then worked at Braniff Airlines in Dallas, Texas from 1962 to 1974. He returned to Van Buren sometime in the late 1970s. So if you have any information about Billy Jack Lincks, you're asked to call the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. And FBI agent said every piece of information about Lincks' life is important. No detail is too small or insignificant. So, a roundabout way, we finally made it to this missing or evidence. So, what do you guys think about that? In my opinion, I'm going to go through comments because I know I missed a lot of some comments when I read that. Okay. Oh, Mr. Steve's got a lot to say. Good. Okay, so the expert, our resident expert says fiber evidence was still in early years, as Wayne Williams was. I've heard of Wayne Williams in 1982. So 1995, while more advanced, probably not today's standards. Yes. Yep. Dave says interesting case. Yeah, Dave, this case, this is my case. This case has it took a hold of me when it first happened, because I remember when it first happened, I was in my early to mid 20s in 1995. So yeah, Dave says he's finally awake now. I'm glad. Harry says I knew Arkansas was making me think of a case. It was the Bald Knob homicide. Also, 1995, 2 separate teen girls, but I'm sure they caught the perp. Yes, the bald knob case. It was one was a cheerleader, one was another girl. If I'm thinking of the right case, I know what case you're talking about, but right now my brain is on full Morgan Nick mode here. So, but yes, and I'm gonna do actually have it saved to do a video as one of my cases of the week for that bald knob case. Hey, Mexi Texie says I made it. Just saw your post. Thank you, Mexi, for being here. Always appreciated. So, Mr. Steve says small samples in the early years were tough. So going with spot is a huge difference from blood trail, spatter, and pool. Yes, and like I said, they didn't in the report, the documents I looked at, they didn't say how big of a spot it was. Like I said, it could have been the size of a pinhead, the size of the end of your finger, a palm. I mean, it didn't say how big the spot was. So, and Mr. C, we definitely value your input because you're the CSI guy, as I say, among other things. Mr. Steve has done basically everything you can do in law enforcement. Mr. Steve is the best. Let's see, I'm trying to make it through comments. Yes, yes, Wayne Williams, the Atlanta child homicides. Yes, fiber analysis was controversial at the time. So why would it be controversial? Just because it's hard? Is it hard to match? And I don't know if Mr. Steve's still here. He may have given up and gone to bed. A lot of people may have already given up and gone to bed. I don't even know what time it is or how long I've been babbling. Yeah, I can see. Ooh, off topic for a minute. Dave says Mexi is the map genius. Yeah, I think Mexi mentioned that I should start doing map time, but I might have to recruit Mexi to do teach me how to do map time. Yeah, Mr. Steve says was one of the early case. All right, so let's see if I have any other. So that was Morgan Nick. Of course, if you have any information about her case, you can call the Alma. It's pronounced 2 different ways here in Arkansas. Alma Police Department at 479-632-3333. So how far are we into it? We're 2.5 hours. So quickly, if anybody would like to hear some information, of course, like I said earlier, if you weren't here, sorry, my cat keeps opening my door. I would not, could not, most definitely would not, because I strive to maintain integrity and transparency, honesty, give any specific names or specifics of what I'm going to talk about, but just in generalities. Get a drink right quick. I have a family member who, and this is just nothing that's been released publicly, nothing that's been confirmed. This is just, like I said, information that I know of from family members who got it from credible sources. So I have a family member who worked for the state of Arkansas. That was their career. Worked for the state of Arkansas, retired as a state employee. In her capacity, their capacity that they did in working for the state, they worked closely with law enforcement. And concerning this case, back when it was happening and in the years after, she had occasion, or my family member had occasion to law enforcement confided in her. Of course, they maintained their integrity and did not mention any names or any specifics, just talking in generalities like I am. My family member had several discussions with police officers who worked on the Morgan Nick case, very close with the Morgan Nick case, and they were, from whatever information or knowledge or evidence that they had, it was always their opinion that there was definitely somebody out there who know, and still today, these people are still on this earth with us, know what happened to Morgan, know who did it, and possibly, now I don't know about this part, possibly know where Morgan's remains could be. Although, my opinion from what I've read and anybody who's not watched the Still Missing Morgan documentary, it's available on Hulu. I suggest, if you want to learn everything there is to know about this case, watch that. They believe that, like I said, there's people out there who know what happened, who did it, but the person that did it has some kind of pull or power in this area of the Van Buren, Fort Smith, Alma area. Not law enforcement per se, but just officials or citizens of this area that have power or pull that are keeping things hush hush, and law enforcement just doesn't have enough evidence, because I've always heard people or law enforcement say it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. Now, whether or not they're referring to Billy Jack Lincks or somebody else, I don't know. So that's just my 2 cents on that, from what I know that has been told to me by a family member that was told to by people who know, if that makes any sense. I also had, if there's anybody here still watching, another family member who has a person they know, very good friends with, known them for a very long time, who, now take this with a grain of salt, because this is a little bit more, I'm not saying that I don't believe it or couldn't believe it, but this friend of one of my other family members, back in 1995, when they released, because back in 1995, the still shot of the red truck was only released locally in the Van Buren, that region. It wasn't released statewide. Back in 95, according to this person that knows my family member, when they released that picture locally in 1995, this person said that this truck belonged to it would have been this person's grandfather, but that his uncle had access to this truck. And part of the family, and the sad thing is, this has divided the family, because part of the family thinks that this family member, this uncle, could definitely possibly have had something to do with Morgan's disappearance, and then the other half say, absolutely no way, you're crazy. So, like I said, take this with a grain of salt. I'm just going by what my family member was told and was relayed to me. Back in 1995, when they saw this truck, they claimed that they called the Alma Police Department and said, you need to check out so-and-so, who is my family member. We think this could be It's our grandfather's truck, but my uncle has access to it. You need to check, just check it out, basically just covering bases. Apparently, I don't know if anything ever came of it. According to the family member of this alleged possible offender, they were kind of brushed off by the Alma police. Now, I don't know, like I said, take this with a grain of salt, because this didn't come from official sources. But and then and see if I can find the sketch, the young guy sketch. And then when this young guy sketch, as I call it, was released in 2001, the same person, family member, said this definitely to this person and most of their family definitely looks like strong resemblance to their family member that they're saying could possibly have something to do with Morgan's disappearance. And I will tell you, of course, I would never show, and I know names and stuff, but like I said, no way I'm giving names, because this person that family members are claiming could have something, should at least be checked out. Is, as far as I know, as of 2021, is still alive. But I have seen this young guy sketch, as I call it, compared side by side to a person of this family member, the uncle, side by side, and the resemblance is uncanny. Let's just put it that way. Like I said, I'm not saying, but it's just something to think about. And like I said, I hope that, it could be that this person, the uncle, whoever, did not have, had nothing to do with it. But I mean, most of the family is convinced that this was their, and according to this family member, their family member that they say could have had something to do with Morgan did, according to them, have a history of child interest, let's put it that way. They claim that the grandfather who the truck belonged to and the grandmother covered for the uncle. Like I said, grain of salt here. And according to them, not too long after this picture in 1995 was released of this truck, that their that truck, their truck that was in that family, mysteriously disappeared. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. This did not come from official sources like the first information I gave you, but it's just something to think about, because I believe, and like I said, I still believe there's a very, very strong case that Billy Jack Lincks is the offender. But I just hope they're looking, and I'm sure they are, looking at all possible avenues, suspects, any information that they get in. I know they've received millions of tips on this case, but I just thought I would share that with you guys. Like I said, you can take that information and think of it what you will. Like I said, anybody who's watched my channel, knows that I strive to maintain my integrity, honesty, and transparency, and I would never make up this information that I've divulged to you. I would never make it up, just conspiracy theories or whatever. But that's another reason why this, aside from the obvious, that this case is so important to me, and so it just eats at me so much. So anyway, let me get to comments. Dave says, we were talking about maps earlier. Dave says he hates maps. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm not a map person either. I can look up stuff on like when I was working doing a home health care, if I'd have a new client or a new place I had to go to, I learned how to use the Google Maps to tell, as I call her Karen, the voice, Karen, tell me where to go to get to, so I know where I was going. Harry says, the bald dog crimes were only 20 minutes from Alma. Yes, I know that if it's the same case that I'm thinking about, in the one young lady, that was the cheerleader her life was taken, they did arrest somebody, somebody confessed, or that somebody was arrested and convicted. And in the other case of the girl that did not get as much attention, that's one reason that I'm going to eventually do a case video on this. The other young lady that went to the same school was around the same age, that disappeared, and not too long after the cheerleader did. Her case did not get as much attention. They believe that the same one or two people that were convicted in the cheerleader, the first one, had something to do with the other young lady that was killed. So that's one that I'm definitely going to do a video on. So Perry, you said you were in the UK, but you've heard of I guess it just seems weird to me that you would have heard a case from Walthall, Arkansas, of all places. All right. Yes, Mexi Texas says they usually always look from the inside out, so family and close associates. Yes, and that was another thing. I wasn't going to mention it, but once again, my family member who worked for the state and worked closely with law enforcement said that maybe not necessarily members of Morgan's family, but people that were in the inner circle of the family, friends, were looked at most definitely. Yeah, Mr. Steve, once again, with his wisdom, says these predators aren't one-time offenders; they have histories. Yes, that's another thing for the case for, in my opinion, the case for Billy Jack Lincks being why they named him a primary person of interest is he did have a history. Because I can't remember if I mentioned it, but in 1992, I think I did mention it, he was convicted, given a slap on the wrist, a 5 or 6 year suspended sentence, and he was supposed to go to a treatment program for SAing his step granddaughter. And in 1995, he was convicted of the solicitation of a child for the Van Buren case, the 11-year-old girl, sentenced to 6 years. But he was in prison. That's when he was in prison. He passed away in 2000. And then and who knows what other I did do. If he, and like Mr. Steve says, they do have histories. This just might have been, and in my opinion, Billy Jack Lincks probably does have other incidents of indecency with children. He was just never caught. But luckily, he was caught in the Van Buren case, and I said he passed away in 2000, and in 2021, he was named a person of interest in Morgan's case. So, but there's just things that nag at my brain that I can't get out about all this information that I divulged to you guys that I know about, and once again going back to the sketches and just other things that and like I said, I'm not saying that law enforcement has not checked out all tips and all avenues of suspects or persons of interest, but it just this case just eats at me. Yes, Mr. Steve. I was planning on, in a roundabout way, asking you if you wanted that particular information because I do have it. I will, if you want me to, I will email it to you, what I do have. It's not a whole lot, but I do have, like I said, I have, as you call it, missing truck person. I do have a picture of him side by side with the young guy sketch, and I do have, I can go back and do screenshots or whatever because he did, the nephew, I'm just gonna say it's the nephew that said, and his mother and dad, and I believe who said it was the uncle who they believe it was the grandfather's truck, but the uncle had access to it, and it is theirs. Most of the family strongly believes, at least it doesn't according to this person who told this information to my family member who's known very long, knows very well, this person would have no reason to lie about this, you know. So yes, if you want it, I will send you that. I will email that information to you, and just to see what you think. Like I said, it's just limited because I do have the picture of the person side by side with the young guy sketch, and I have the information that was posted on Facebook by the nephew. I'm not going to give his name because it's a wonderful, nice family, and they're trying to do the right thing. But I will send you everything that I have, Mr. Steve, and let's see what you think about it. So Dave, I'm going backwards here. Dave says, I'm assuming he's asking Mr. Steve, do you think these guys attempt these crimes and strike out? Yeah. And Mr. Steve says, when they are triggered, they take great chances. I arrested one who attempted an abduction in front of 100 plus people. Oh my God. Yeah, like I said in the Morgan Nick case earlier, the Alma Police Department was 1 block away. Basically, you could look as the crow flies and see the Alma Police Department from the ball field. And this person was brazen enough, this offender was brazen enough to snatch Morgan. And if it just by going off of, and I can also speak to this because, like I said, I grew up in a small town, still live in a small town, less than 2,000. Most of the time, back in the 90s, I have 2 younger brothers. They both played Little League baseball, so we were 3 or 4 nights a week, especially during the summer, at these Little League baseball games. There was always either police driving around, or more likely, either police that were on duty in uniform or off-duty police that were actually there at the ball field because they had children that were playing in these games. So yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine that there wasn't some kind of police print. And I'm not saying that police weren't paying attention, but just going back to the brazenness of somebody, this abductor, whoever it is, whether it be Billy Jack Lincks or somebody else, taking Morgan with the chance that the police are right there, they could drop by at any time, and it didn't matter. Right. I will most definitely, Mr. Steve. Either tonight, I'll let you know. I have no clue what time it is. Let me see if I can. 10:45. It's not too bad. Some people are still hanging with me. I will definitely send it. I'll either send it tonight or first thing in the morning. I'll have to go back on Facebook and look at the post and take screenshots and everything, and I'll send it to you and see what you think. And when I send you this information, if you think there is maybe something to it, my family member can most likely get personal contact information from the people I'm referring to, just in case you might want any of that. Or if they don't feel comfortable sending there, which I don't think they would have any problem sending there. Because like I said, they have advocated since 1995 that please look into this family member of ours, because this definitely looks like the truck because it's very distinct. And their family member, they claim, according to them, had a history, just never got caught, but had a history of indecency with children. And the truck supposedly disappeared after the picture was posted. And also supposedly, and this is what makes me wonder about the property that was searched in Van Buren. Now, I don't know if this particular family had any ties to Van Buren, but supposedly, and it could have nothing to do with this property, supposedly to this family member that told my family member about their family member, supposedly a house that was on property that they owned, that the grandfather and the uncle both lived in at that time. Supposedly that house mysteriously burned down right after the truck disappeared, and all this stuff started coming out about this information about looking for this red truck. So that is another intriguing part of this story, which is not a story. Well, like I said, this is not just people that my family member just knows casually. That my family member has known the person's mother for a long, long time, due to being in various organizations together. And so, why would they lie about something like that? I mean, all the family is saying is, please at least check it out. If nothing else, just please check it out, for possibilities. I mean, but like I said, according to the family members, at least back in 1995, when they first let the Alma Police Department know, they just kind of said, yeah, whatever, we'll look into it. So who knows if they actually did look into it? I don't know. Now Dave says you can't trust anyone. Yeah, unfortunately, it's getting that way. All right, let's see. I don't want to end on a Billy Jack Lincks, so we will end on a Little Morgan. Oh, Mr. C said, you had me at missing truck. Farmers don't lose trucks. Exactly. Yeah. And another thing, okay, so I know I'm being long-winded and we've been on here for 3 hours, but another thing that was mentioned about this particular family member that kind of ties back to the first information that I gave you from my other family member who worked from the state that worked with law enforcement. So I said in the first information that law enforcement said that this person, whoever it was, had some pull, as we say down here, some pull in the community, some influence over officials in the community. So therefore, in law enforcement's opinion, Morgan's case wouldn't be solved until all these people who supposedly who they say, in their opinion, have knowledge of what happened, until they all pass away and are not on this earth anymore, then people will start coming forward to give information that they know, if that makes sense, if I explain that correctly. So that goes back to another thing that was told to my other family member about their family member that they suspect is that their family, parts of their family, had pull or influence where they lived. So that kind of connects a little bit to what law enforcement was saying about the person that they were looking at, or somebody knows something, but they have pull and influence over officials to kind of keep things hush hush, not saying anything about law enforcement doing anything wrong, but just people who would normally come forward with information will not come forward with information because they're afraid to, because of this family's influence over officials, if that makes sense. So yeah, Mr. Steve, I will definitely send you. Would you get down? My cat is back and driving me nuts. Yes, Mr. Steve. Yeah, I like that. So you have, yeah, farmers don't lose. Yeah, most definitely, farmers do not lose their trucks. But like I said, according to this information, come from firsthand to my family member that was then told to me, that truck mysteriously disappeared after the famous picture of the from the ball field was released. That truck mysteriously disappeared, and supposedly a house on a piece of property that this family owned, that at the time the grandfather and the uncle lived in, mysteriously burned to the ground shortly after. So take that as you will. It could be something, it could be nothing, but it's just something to think about. Other possibilities. I think Mr. Steve called it one time playing devil's advocate, as long as you can back it up, explain why you're playing devil's advocate. I hope I explained well enough why I'm playing devil's advocate with this information. But anyway, anybody got anything else you want to talk about, or any other questions, or anything? Almost at 3 hours. We'll stay on here a little bit longer, see if anybody else has any questions or comments or anything else. My cat is impatiently waiting for me to get out of his chair. I know, Bubba. I'll get out of your chair in a minute. He's fixing to jump up on the back of it. You'll probably see him behind me here in a minute. There he is. You can see his, which size is. Quit biting my head. Okay, get down. And now he's getting mean. You're fixing to get, get down. He's fixing to get in trouble. Okay, dude, I'm fixing to move. All right, I'm a stylist. Make sure that my computer screen hadn't frozen up and I'm not missing any. Oh, thank you. Highest compliment I could get. Mr. C says, keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. You know, I make no bones about the fact that I appreciate everything you've done for me so much, everything I've learned from you in all aspects of CSI stuff and knowing how to use common sense and deductive reasoning and all, you know, all that good stuff. How to be, most importantly, how to do this YouTube thing the right way, with integrity, with transparency, with honesty. I learned that from you. So, and Mrs. Steve. Can't forget Mrs. Steve. Say hi to Mrs. Steve and baby Steve and double alt and triple alt and everybody else. I hope you've been having fun with your grandbabies. But yes, sir, you are my inspiration, and I appreciate everything you've done for me and all your encouragement that you give me. And that goes for everybody who watches my videos, watches my lives, watches my replays. Everything is so very much appreciated. I never thought, I haven't checked, I think I'm up to 411 or 412 subscribers, and that may not sound like a lot for some channels, but for me, I just started this as a hobby, kind of as a stress reliever for my former job that I had as a home health caregiver. But it's quickly turned into something. Of course, I've always been passionate about true crime, passionate about the missing and these cold cases and these families. So it's turned into turned into something. I hope it's something good. I hope I'm doing it the right way, and I will continue to strive to try to do it the right way, to the best of my ability. All right, guys. Anything else? See it, make sure I haven't missed anything. I don't entirely still trust my okay, I think I'm still good. Okay. All right, guys. If we don't have, if nobody has any questions or comments, thank you everybody so much. And if after the stream is over, if anybody has watch and replay, or if I miss it when I'm doing my outro, anybody put something in chat, please leave a comment, and I read all my comments. And if you have any questions or anything, please put them in the comments. Mr. Steve, I will definitely get that information to you. Thank you, Dave. Dave says, great live. Thank you, my friend. Always good to have you here. Like I said, me and you go back a long way. Me, you, and Mr. Steve, because like I said, I always say, before when I was a lurker, before I even started my channel, when I started watching other creators and started lurking in their chats, I would always see Dave in True Crime Web chats, and then of course the morning watch chats. So check out Dave's channel. And Dave, feel free to stick in. You have a wrench, you can put in the link to your channel. Dave does good late night, early morning lives. I try to attend all his lives when I'm awake, which since I'm not working right now, I'm usually up late at night. So Dave, are you going to have, do you know yet if you're going to do a live sometime this weekend? Oh, Jocelyn. Hey, Jocelyn. Jocelyn just popped in. I was getting ready to finish up. How you doing, girl? Good to see you here. Or are you just saying hi, or have you been here? I know there's probably some lurkers, but that's okay. It's okay to lurk. I'm usually still a lurker in most chats. I try to participate a little bit in when I visit True Crime Web and the Mob Crew with Chris, and Dave says I will be on around 12:30 tonight or this morning or whatever it is. Good to know. I'll probably still be up. I'll probably join you. Jocelyn says, just saw you on. That's all right. We were talking about the Morgan Nick case. Lots of, I hope you guys found the information about where the DNA is from 1995. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think the FBI has it. And hopefully they do have it, kept it under lock and key, kept it preserved the best they could. And maybe at some point, who knows, we can always hope that there might be some new evidence or information that comes up in Morgan's case that they can compare. We can just keep hope alive, that one day, we will get some answers in Morgan's case. All right, guys, we've been 3 hours, and my voice is about to give out and my bladder is about to give out. So I'm going to end it here. But thank you everybody who was here, who came in late. Let me see if I can. Of course, Jocelyn, thanks for dropping by. Dave, of course, Mr. Steve, True Crime Web. Perry was here. Michigan Wifey was here. Mexie was here. Perry, I think I'm repeating myself. Dandy was here earlier. She's probably already in bed by now. Make sure I didn't miss anybody from early. We've been on here 3 hours. Junior, can't forget Junior. Junior Johnson was here. Thank you. Just going up through comments. Intuitive Empress 33, welcome. It's first time she's been here. I hope you come back. Hope I didn't scare you off or bore you too much, Empress. You're welcome back. And everybody and anybody is welcome back at any time. So like I said, if you have friends, family, true crime groups, do you think would find my channel interesting or informative, please do share me. And before you leave, please give me a thumbs up. Very much appreciated. I appreciate everybody so much. So until, thank you, Jocelyn. Jocelyn says, have a great night, everyone. See you soon. Thank you, Jocelyn, for dropping by. Please do watch the replay if you get a chance, if it's something you're interested in, the Morgan Nick case, once again. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm thinking about if I can get something together, I may do a True Crime After Dark tomorrow night, or technically, I guess, is it no, tomorrow night. It's 11 p.m. Central Time. Saturday night, doing a True Crime After Dark at around 10 p.m. Central Time or so. So if I can get, because there's been a lot of stuff that I've been covering and other people have been covering, lots of stuff going on in the news. We have the Amanda Harms case that I've been talking about, Stephanie Lofton case. Then we got this crazy Kansas City Chiefs fans, 3 that turned up deceased, that whole crazy thing. The Flora 4 house was demolished. So I may, but I'll give you a heads up. I'll schedule it probably tomorrow. So if you're free tomorrow around it'd be 10 p.m. Central U.S. time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, anything west, you're on your own. I can't keep up with those time zones. But anyway, I'll let you know. So let me check my comments again. So stay tuned for that if you want to join me tomorrow night. If I can get my voice recovered. I think I'm getting a little bit up. Our weather here has been crazy. It's been warm and cold and rainy, and it's got my voice and my sinuses all messed up. So anyway, maybe probably look for a True Crime After Dark tomorrow, and we'll see what kind of mess we can get into with that. So with that said, please, like I said, we're going to leave you with a precious little Morgan Nick here. Once again, if you have any information about Morgan's case, you can call, well, I haven't got it. Oh, here it is. You can either call the FBI, any of the, call FBI, whatever that is, or you can call the Alma Police Department at 479-632-3333. All right, guys, I'm going to shut up now and get out of here, and I'll probably see you tomorrow late night. So anybody that wants to join in, please do so. Take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. Take care of each other. Thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye.